Hi, I'm Jenna and I'm 40 years old. I've been through a lot with my in-laws mistreating me like many other women have. But my experience is unique because I found a way to stand up for myself. I want to share my story to help others facing similar struggles. It all began when my husband told me, "I have something important to tell you." "What's wrong, honey? Is everything all right?" "No, I'm scared. I saw my mom and sister do something really bad." "What? What did they do?" "I finally understand. I don't think these women have your best interests at heart, and I'm truly sorry for not believing you before." Micah was talking about all the times when Gladys and Hannah, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, treated me unfairly. They would ruin my outfits for special events, mess with my food and drinks to embarrass me, and even spread lies about my successful business, all because they resented me for marrying their son and brother. I had complained to Mako about their behavior countless times, but he never took me seriously. However, in this moment, he finally did. "Well, what changed your mind?" "I saw this." Mako showed me security camera footage from our business. My husband and I sell crocheted items, like baby clothes and purses. It's a business I started and have been passionate about, but Gladys and Hannah always tried to discourage me from pursuing it. "Are you sure you should be involved in this business? It's not going to succeed, especially with your lack of expertise." "Excuse me?" What she means is that you're not capable enough to handle this business. You should just give up and focus on being a housewife or finding a regular job. Starting a business is too difficult for someone like you. You understand what I'm saying. These women always tried to stop me from doing things that made me happy. I think they were jealous because why else would they behave so horribly? My suspicions about them being mean finally became clear when they tried to embarrass me. Even when I showed my ruined dress to my husband, begged him to taste my tampered food, and proved their lies about my business, he didn't believe me. He had to see it for himself, and finally he did. The video Micah showed me was shocking. I couldn't believe people would do something so terrible. In the video, we could see two masked women, one taller and one shorter, vandalizing our building with spray paint. Take a closer look. Notice the lady with the necklace. I looked closer, and it seemed like Gladys' unique necklace that Micah brought her from Fiji. I understand now. Who else could it be? They look so similar. I believe you now. Tears welled up in my eyes. I felt both angry and hurt because it took him so long to believe me, but I also felt relieved that someone finally understood my struggles. I didn't want to tell him about this because they were his family. I couldn't just speak badly about them or take them to court for the damage they caused. But I did want to get back at them, and I had been thinking about how to do it for a long time. Suddenly, Micah's phone rang, and it was Hannah. "Speak of the devil, right?" He answered and talked to her for a bit. When he hung up, he said, "So Hannah just told me that Uncle Peter is back from his trip, and Mom wants to have a big family gathering since a lot of people are home for the summer." "Okay, when? This weekend?" "Are you going to talk to them about what we saw in the video?" "I want to, but it's hard for me. They're my mother and my sister, you know. But if you want to confront them, I'll support you in any way I can." The weekend arrived and Micah and I got to Gladys' house early to help prepare for the big family gathering. Uncle Peter was everyone's favorite, so his return after a long absence would be a special occasion. When we arrived, I noticed that both Hannah and Gladys' attitudes changed from happy and smiling to jealousy and disgust. "Oh, you two are here early." "Yeah, Mom, we wanted to lend a hand. We know there will be a lot of guests today. Aren't you sweet? We're happy to help." As I spoke, Hannah and Gladys both turned their gaze toward me, giving me looks as if I had done something wrong. But they couldn't prove it yet. "Oh, Jenna, it's awful that your lovely business was vandalized like that. I saw it on my way here. Such a tragedy." "Absolutely dreadful, indeed. Even a child could sense that these women were up to something sneaky. Despite their outward concern, they seemed unusually cheerful, almost gleeful. I even caught them trying to suppress a laugh. But I had to stay quiet. I didn't want to cause a scene just yet. I was determined to get my revenge at the right time, so for now, I bided my time. I know it's just terrible. We're both wondering who could have done such a thing. Yeah, it was really upsetting to see something we put so much effort into being damaged like that." "Right, but don't worry, the police will investigate." "The police? Why involve them for such a small crime? It's probably just some kids messing around. No need to make a big deal out of it. Oh, Hannah, it's kind of you to care about these supposed troublemakers, but they should still face consequences for their actions. They knew what they were doing. I agree with Hannah. We all did silly things as teenagers. Let's not dwell on it. Come on, let's focus on getting everything ready for the party. I could sense that they were nervous, trying to brush off the whole incident after asking so many questions about it. Micah and I exchanged a knowing glance and joined in to help with the party preparations. We spent the whole morning and early afternoon setting up, cooking, and cleaning. By 3 p.m., family members started arriving for the reunion. After finishing our tasks and relaxing a bit, Micah pulled me aside. I have something for you. It's a hidden microphone. I want you to wear it. What? Why? What's going on? I'm not strong enough to confront my mother or sister. I'm sorry I'm not as assertive as you want me to be, but maybe this is better. If you expose them, you'll get all the credit. You've always been stronger than me. Wear the mic and approach them. You might uncover something and get justice. I won't stop you. I appreciated Micah's support, even though I wished he would be more confrontational. With that, I put on the mic, hit record, and went to find those two troublemakers. I finally found them talking in the kitchen, deep in a heated discussion. Before I entered, I listened at the door to hear what they were saying. She's on to us, Mom. Did you see the way she looked at us? Stop it, Hannah. You're overreacting. She doesn't know it was us. I swear, Mom, she knows everything. Okay, calm down. Even if she suspects something, what can she do? Micah loves us, and she loves Micah. If she did find out, she'd probably tell him. And then Micah would just brush it off, saying she's imagining things. That's what's been working for us so far, hasn't it? What do you mean? Remember when we ruined her dress before her crush at business pitch? Or when we messed with her food and drink? She told Micah about it. There's no way she didn't share her suspicions with him. But because he loves us, he overlooked it. He'll do the same now. I couldn't stand their villainous conversation any longer, so I burst into the room. Even though I'd been recording everything, I was worried the microphone hadn't picked up enough evidence. I needed to get closer to gather more proof against them for my revenge. Hey, you two, Uncle Peter will be here soon. Do you need help with anything else? Jenna, you scared us. Yes, Jenna, I have a weak heart. Don't startle me like that again. Apparently not weak enough. What did you just say? Oh, it's nothing, just that you seem pretty energetic for someone your age. Energetic? How so? Well, I could have sworn I saw you doing something active recently. Maybe it was a dream, but I remember seeing you in black clothes, wearing a mask. They paused for a moment, catching on to what I was implying. Bingo. Yeah, I think you were up to something quite serious. What exactly are you implying? I think you know exactly what I mean, Gladys said, closing the door for a more private conversation. What are you trying to suggest? Hannah asked. I'm not trying to suggest anything. Well, we have no idea what you're talking about, so stop now. I'm not sure. Honestly, I think I might have also seen someone else with their face covered, along with the other person doing something illegal. What a shame. I hope they catch those criminals soon. Anyway, Mom, I think we should leave now. Not so fast, Hannah. I want you both to see something. What's that? I then showed them the video footage that Micah had shown me. Oh, you caught the vandals. Well, now that we know who they are, there's no need to look into it any further. Let's just drop the issue. Jenna, you're being unbearable with this. Vandalism happens to other buildings too, you know. Yeah, Jenna, just move on. It's not worth all this fuss. Actually, ladies, I think it is a big deal. I found something interesting in this video. Take a closer look. Both of them leaned in and zoomed in on the phone screen to see what I was talking about. The horror and shock on their faces confirmed all my suspicions. They were the ones who had vandalized my building. I knew it, Mom. Quiet, this doesn't prove anything. Who else has this necklace, ladies? I can't handle it anymore. Okay, it was us. Hannah, don't you dare say another word. Well, Mom, she's figured it out. I don't know what you want me to say. Yes, Jenna, we did it. We damaged your business. But what are you going to do about it? Yeah, Jenna, there's nothing you can do in this situation. We know that Micah cares more about us than he does about you. So even if you try to take action, he won't punish us because he loves us. He really does love you guys, and he probably won't do anything. But sweetie, why do you think I won't? Do you think I'm afraid of you too? You mess with my business, which is like my child. I won't let you off the hook. Gladys and Hannah both tried to grab the phone from me, but thankfully I was faster and managed to escape. Come back here, you foolish girl. Even if you grab the phone, the data's already backed up, so there's no point in fighting me unless you want to worsen your already weak heart. Don't you dare provoke my mom. Do you think you're funny? Do you think you're clever? Give us the data now, or else I'll. What? Huh. What will you do? I'll hurt you in ways you never imagined. Oh, I'm shaking in my boots. Please don't hurt me. You cheeky little thing. We were running around the kitchen until I finally opened the door. It's a good thing I did because right outside was Micah. Help, your mom and sister are acting crazy. I came to tell you that Uncle Peter is here. What's happening? I'll tell you what's happening. Your wife is falsely accusing us of damaging her business, and she's threatening us. That's not true. Tell them, Micah. There was silence. Micah looked upset, struggling to speak clearly. I know you're not used to arguing with your mom and sister, or arguing at all for that matter, but I need you to stand up for me, your wife, right now. Please. Still, there was silence, and Micah looked dejected. I felt a pang of disappointment. You see, honey, Micah will always side with us, not you. He loves us more. Now that's not fair. I love you all equally. You're all important to me, which makes it tough to decide. Decide what? Why not choose honesty? We both know it. You're the one who showed me the footage. What, Micah? Why would you do that? Because it's my business too, and what you did was wrong. Not just this incident, but all the other times you've hurt my wife. You need to stop, please. We'll forgive you. Speak for yourself. I'm still going to press charges. Not while I'm here. Just then, Uncle Peter, our respected guest of honor, walked in. He seemed happy but also worried because we were all here while everyone else was waiting for the celebrations to start. Oh, Peter, my dear, it's wonderful to see you. You look great. Yes, we'll start the celebrations soon. Let me take you to your special seat. Tell me all about your trip. We're not done with you, Jenna. If you try anything, I promise we'll make sure Micah divorces you. Why do you talk to Micah like he's a child? He's a grown man who can make his own choices. He wouldn't divorce me just because you tell him to, right, honey? You see, he hesitated, dropping his head for the second time in 5 minutes. I really did date a wasp. I stormed off angrily and went to the big dining table where about 30 people were sitting. I sat down, seething but trying to stay calm. Soon after, Micah and Hannah joined me. But I stayed quiet, even though Micah seemed like he wanted to say something. I was too angry at him. Eventually, Gladys and Uncle Peter arrived, and we all celebrated. Despite the uncomfortable fight earlier, the festivities began. While we were eating, my anger boiled inside me, and I couldn't hold it in any longer. Attention, everyone. I have something important to say. There are 2 people here who have always hated me, who tried to make my life miserable. Some of you might already know, but I'll make sure you all understand. I played the recording from our earlier argument for everyone to hear. People gasped and looked shocked at what they were hearing. Hannah and Gladys were frozen in their seats, denying everything and accusing me of lying. The dinner turned chaotic. I yelled at Gladys and Hannah, and they yelled back. The other adults at the table tried to figure out what was happening. Micah, as usual, stayed silent. That is, until he heard sirens, and then everyone went quiet. The police were on their way to the house. What have you done, you wretch? I'll get you. I didn't do anything. I did. I'm the one who called thee. Mom, Hannah, you need to face the consequences for what you've done. I called the police on you, and they have a warrant for your arrest, because I secretly recorded the conversation that Jenna played for everyone. We've all seen how Mom and Hannah treat Jenna, but none of us said anything, especially me. Jenna is my wife, and from now on, I'm standing by her side because she's been proven right. Mom, Hannah, please cooperate. At that moment, the police entered the house and arrested Gladys, who cursed and yelled as she was taken away. Hannah tried to run but was caught by the police. Both women were embarrassed as they were dragged out of the house. They glared at me, calling me names, and at Micah, accusing him of betrayal. After Hannah and Gladys left, the night continued, albeit a bit awkwardly. We all opened up about how toxic they were. Even Uncle Peter joked that he'd rather be in prison than be around them. We laughed and enjoyed the rest of the family reunion without them. Throughout the night, some family members received calls from a local jail. Knowing it was Hannah and Gladys, some answered and told them they needed to learn a lesson. Others pretended the network was down, and many simply refused to take the calls. Micah and I grew closer after he supported me by calling the police. Hannah and Gladys paid a fine for the damages and are out of jail, but their egos took a hit. When we see them now, they look ashamed and afraid instead of jealous and disgusted, which suits me fine. Revenge has never felt so satisfying. Hi, I'm Fiona, and I'm 30 years old. I stay at home with my 2 lovely kids. Life's been mostly good lately, but there's been some trouble with my husband. A while back, we had a big fight, and it's all because of his mom. You know how moms can be important to their sons, right? Well, sometimes it feels like she's a bit too involved. My husband is what you might call a mama's boy, and it can be tough to deal with sometimes. Our argument went like this. Fiona, can you come here for a minute? Sure, what's up? I need to talk to you. Please sit down. Is everything all right? Yes, everything's okay. I just wanted to talk about how we need to spend less money on some things at home. Is everything all right with your job? Yeah, work's fine. Don't worry. I just decided we need to spend more on something important, so we have to cut back on other stuff. Okay, what's the new expense? He took a deep breath, like he knew I wouldn't like what he had to say. I'm going to start giving Mom some money every month. It won't be a lot, but she's getting older and she needs some extra cash. I felt unsure and puzzled. It didn't seem right to me to give money to someone who already had plenty. My mother-in-law, Rita, had a successful business, and since she was a widow and her kids had moved out, she didn't need more money. I told my husband how I felt about it, but he tried to reassure me. How much money are we talking about? Don't worry about it. Excuse me? I'm the one managing the household, so I need to know. How much? I'm going to send her $4,000 every month. I was shocked. $4,000 a month? That seemed crazy to me, considering that's what many people spend in total each month. He'd be giving her all that money for basically nothing. I tried to argue with him, saying it wasn't possible, but he wouldn't budge. Our argument got so bad that we ended up sleeping in different beds that night. We're well off, but I always try to be smart with our money so we don't waste it. Giving someone $4,000 a month for no good reason, just because she's my mom and I love her, adds up to $48,000 a year. That money could go towards our kids' college funds, their savings accounts, our health insurance, or even better, it could go to people who actually need it, like charities. I tried explaining this to him, but he wasn't willing to listen. 5 months passed since he began sending money to his mother, and to add insult to injury, he wanted me to be the one to send it to her. It felt like he was trying to punish me and show that he'd always put his mother first. But thankfully, his arrogant behavior wouldn't last forever. I stumbled upon something shocking. It all began when my mother-in-law visited us 3 months after she started getting the allowance. Hello, Fiona. How's my favorite daughter-in-law? I'm doing well, thank you. How about you? Oh, I'm feeling so much better ever since Adam started sending me money. I was struggling a bit before, you know. The business wasn't doing as well as I hoped, but I didn't want to ask for help. I guess Adam just sensed it. It's like our special mother-son connection. I felt terrible hearing this. How could I deny her the money she needed? I always thought she was fine, but she wasn't. She started to cry, and I comforted her. I've always been okay with sharing money with those who need it, and Rita clearly did. Also, I thought. After a heart-to-heart talk, I noticed something strange. Rita started talking about going on luxury trips now that she had extra money. It didn't make sense to me. If she needed money, why talk about trips? But whenever I looked confused, she'd backtrack and say she meant once she became rich again. It was odd, but I brushed it off because she said she needed the money. 2 more months passed, and I kept sending her the money. She'd always thank me profusely, saying how much she needed it. I felt bad for doubting her and guilty for arguing with my husband. Unfortunately, we started feeling the effects of less money in our household. It's tough to change your routine. Still, I tried to cut back wherever I could, and we managed to get by. Then, one night, I came across a text from his mother while cleaning my husband's office. Curiosity got the better of me, so I read it. Hey Adam, hope you're doing well. Could you increase my monthly allowance? I want to enjoy some extra luxuries. I was stunned. How could she ask for more money when she already gets enough to cover the average monthly expenses of a single person in America? Remember, she's a healthy, capable 65-year-old widow who lives alone. So why did she need more money, especially for luxuries? It didn't add up. My sympathy for her was fading, and I couldn't resist the urge to find out more. Ignoring the email from his mother on my husband's computer, I started searching through the family finances. Unfortunately, I didn't find any evidence of wrongdoing, so I decided to come up with a plan. Hi Fiona, everything all right? Why are you calling so late? Hello Rita, I hope everything's okay with you. Well, I'm managing, but honestly, it's been tough. Sometimes I struggle to afford even basic things like toiletries. I'm really grateful to my son for helping me out. Anyway, I was thinking, would you like to come over for tea tomorrow? Tea sounds wonderful. Thank you for inviting me. You know, things have been tight for me too. Sometimes I can't even afford tea, so it'll be nice to have some with you. Oh, it'll be my pleasure, Rita. Just come over, and we'll have a nice afternoon together. All right then, see you soon. Bye. Bye. With that, I hung up, preparing for my plan. The next day, Rita came over, and we had a lovely time. As we were chatting during our afternoon tea, Rita excused herself to use the bathroom. This was my chance to snoop around. I quickly went through her purse and found her phone, which was unlocked. I opened her banking app, determined to uncover the truth about her financial situation. Women's intuition rarely fails, and I stumbled upon some shocking news. With my suspicions growing stronger, I delved into her financial records, expecting to find evidence of financial struggle. However, nothing could have prepared me for what I discovered. Rita had over $1.6 million in her bank account as of 6 months ago. I was stunned. I had to exit the app and reopen it just to confirm that I wasn't mistaken. But there it was, clear as day. She had a huge sum of money in her account. Confusion overwhelmed me, and then, to make matters even more bewildering, I noticed a familiar text message on her phone. It was from one of her employees, and it said, "Hello Rita, please find attached the financial breakdown of last month's earnings. Just wanted to let you know, it looks like we've made a big profit for the 4th month in a row. You're a fantastic businesswoman. I'm eager to hear your thoughts." Naturally, I opened the attached document and my eyes widened at the sight of even more money. The report showed a monthly profit of $8,400 for a small business. It was truly impressive. At this rate, the business would thrive. Sitting there in shock for what felt like ages, I couldn't help but feel furious. This lady was taking money from her son's household, from her own grandchildren, for no real reason other than to satisfy her own ego. As I heard Rita returning from the restroom, quickly, I erased all traces of my snooping and placed her phone back in her purse. Rita returned, thanking me for the tea. "Oh, Fiona, thank you again for the lovely tea. You know, as an old lady, it's tough to manage, especially when you're already struggling. Lately, things have been really hard for me, dear, and I'm so grateful for you and your husband's help. Say, could I ask you for something, if it's not too much trouble?" "Of course. What do you need?" "We're just happy to help. But may I ask, is it possible for me to get some more money, maybe an increase to $6,000 a month?" Let me tell you, it took every ounce of self-control not to explode and lash out at this woman for all the nonsense she was putting me through. I gritted my teeth and responded, "I understand your struggles since you're clearly going through a tough time. It's not like you're a millionaire or anything." She froze for a moment, a subtle reaction that I might have missed if I didn't know what I knew. But because I was aware, I caught it. Luckily for her, she quickly recovered. "Oh no, of course not. If I were, I wouldn't be asking you, darling. So what do you say?" "Unfortunately, I don't think we can manage an extra $2,000. As soon as I said this, Rita's smile faded, replaced by what seemed like irritation. She pressed her lips together, clearly frustrated. "Oh, that's all right, no problem. Well, I have to leave now, so let's catch up again soon." She left in a hurry, almost as if she had just been rejected by a lover, and wanted to escape to avoid embarrassment. Now, knowing she was a liar and a thief, any sympathy I had for her vanished. I debated whether to tell my husband what I found, but I decided against it. He needed to see her true colors for himself, especially after he criticized me so harshly. It was a painful lesson he needed to learn on his own. A couple of days passed, and it was time to send my mother-in-law her monthly allowance of $4,000. Despite having the money from my husband, I chose not to. I wanted her to feel the shock and disappointment when the money didn't arrive later that day. It would be a wake-up call she sorely needed. Just as I anticipated, my husband called me a couple of hours later. "What's going on?" "What do you mean? Why are you upset?" "Don't play dumb, Fiona. I know what you're up to. Why haven't you sent Mom the allowance? I'm getting tired of your games." "You won't believe what I found out. There's a reason behind what I'm doing." "Listen, I understand you care about your mom. I'm sorry if you feel I don't appreciate that, but you need to hear me out. You don't even earn a dime to have a say in how we spend our money. It's my money and I'll decide what to do with it. So when I say send money, you do it. You're just a housewife. Remember that." His words shattered my heart. How could he talk to me like that? I was stunned. All the anger I'd bottled up for so long suddenly erupted. So I decided to fire back. "You know what your problem is? You don't appreciate me. You think being a housewife and mom is a breeze. Well, let's see how easy it is without me. I'm not sticking around to be treated like this. But before I go, check your mother's bank account. Don't bother calling me until you've done that. Have a nice evening." "Fiona, wait, I didn't mean." I hung up. I was fed up with being treated like dirt. Sometimes life throws challenges our way to remind us to take a break. I've been working so hard, and it's all taken for granted. Let's see how he manages without me, especially when he finds out his mom's a liar and a thief. I sent him the pictures I took of his mom's bank account while I was investigating. Then I switched my phone to do not disturb mode. I packed bags for me and the kids and checked into a nearby hotel, not wanting to disrupt their school routine. They asked why we were staying in a hotel, and to spare them unnecessary worry, I told them our house was being fumigated, so we needed to stay here for a while. I said Daddy would stay in another hotel. I couldn't bear to burden my sweet angels with the truth. They didn't need to suffer when I was already struggling. I needed to heal for them first. Even with my phone on Do Not Disturb, messages flooded my inbox from both my mother-in-law and my husband. But I was too drained to deal with it all, so I spent the night relaxing and playing with my children. Morning came, and I was woken up by a phone call. "Hello, Miss Fiona. There's someone named Adam here who'd like to meet you. We have to confirm if you know each other for safety reasons." "Yes, I know him. He's my husband. You can let him know my room number." Adam arrived at my door, and I opened it. He immediately hugged me tightly, squeezing me tightly. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for everything. I saw the evidence you sent me, and you were right not to give her any more money." He began to cry in my arms, and I comforted him. I invited him into the room, and we started talking. "Darling, I'm so sorry for everything. I'm glad you realized what was going on. Can you tell me what happened?" Just then, my mother-in-law called. I decided to answer it. "Hello. How dare you invade my privacy like that? I could sue you, you know." "Do you even need the money? How dare you try to ruin my reputation in front of my son? It doesn't matter. He loves me, and he'll do whatever it takes to make me happy. You think he'll stop sending me money? Ha, you must be delusional. You think he'll listen to a mere housewife? You're sorely mistaken. Yes, I have money. I always had money since my husband passed away. I just like to control Adam sometimes so he doesn't get too arrogant. He needs to remember that mommy comes first." The voice on the phone wasn't my mother-in-law's. It was like a monster, so different and filled with malice. Her yelling woke up the children. "So, you're not bothered by how your selfishness has disrupted this household? You don't care that Adam and I have been arguing because of your actions. You don't even care that you've been stealing from your own son and grandchildren. Oh, come on, you two are headed for divorce anyway. I can't wait for that. They'll come home to me eventually. And as for those kids, well, I guess I don't really care." "Mom, that's incredibly cruel." "Adam, honey, listen. I didn't mean it. Did you hear all of that?" "Adam, my love." "Nope, that won't work on me this time. I've seen your true colors, and I've had enough. You've made the past few months hell for me and Fiona. How could you manipulate me like that? I'm your son. What kind of evil has possessed you to do such a terrible thing? I can't even imagine. I fell for your tricks, but my wonderful wife Fiona saw through you all along. She knew something was off, but I shouted at her and disrespected her. Not anymore. Fiona is my real family, not you. I never want to hear from you again. Adam, wait." But I have no one. Maybe that's how it should be. Click. Adam ended the call, and though he was upset, I could see a sense of relief in him. He'd been manipulated like this his whole life. Realizing that must have been a heavy burden, but it was lifted now. For the rest of the day, Adam apologized to me and the kids for his behavior and distance. He admitted he couldn't even survive one night without me. He's realized his mistakes and promised not to repeat them. And as for his mother, he meant it when he said he didn't want to hear from her again. She kept trying to call, but he always declined. She'd made her bed, and now she had to lie in it. Is the funeral finished? Hurry home now. Today is Eliza's birthday party, so get ready, my dear daughter. Shelley, who was only 5 years old, has passed away. This is what my mother-in-law, Lori, told me on the day we said our final goodbyes to Shelley. Lori didn't go to her own granddaughter's funeral. Instead, she asked me to come back for her sister-in-law Eliza's birthday celebration. I was puzzled and upset by her request. My sadness turned into anger, and I decided to make a phone call. To someone. My name is Rel, and I'm a 33-year-old homemaker. I have a 5-year-old daughter, my husband Milo, who is 2 years older than me, and I met through a mutual friend. We got married 6 years ago, and soon after, we were blessed with our daughter Shelley. She's only 5 years old now, at her most adorable age. It's heartbreaking that her fate was so harsh. 2 years ago, Shelley started to become weak. When she was 3, she began to have fevers and chills frequently. Her neck also started swelling. We thought it might be mumps, so we took her to the hospital. There, the doctor said, "You need to get tests done at a bigger hospital right away." That's what the doctor told me. After lots of tests at the big hospital and waiting nervously, the doctors finally told us what was wrong. Shelley had malignant lymphoma, a type of cancer kids can get. When I heard this, it felt like my world went dark. I begged the doctor, "This has to be a mistake, right? Please tell me it's not true." Even though the doctor and nurses were there, I couldn't help but cry. Shelley needed to be hospitalized right away, so we rushed home to gather things we needed, but I couldn't stop crying. My husband, Milo, was also crying, but he tried to be strong for us. "We have to be brave. Shelley will get better," he said firmly, trying to encourage me. The doctors explained the illness and the treatments Shelley would need, and I had to sign papers giving permission for things like blood transfusions and surgery. The treatments were tough. Shelley had to get medicine through an IV, have blood taken, get blood transfusions, and have chemotherapy. I quit my part-time job so I could be with Shelley at the hospital all the time. Sometimes Milo would take time off work to come and see us, and he'd tell me, "You need to take a break sometimes, Michelle, or you'll get sick too." When Milo was visiting, I'd take care of things at home or try to get some rest to keep my strength up. In the first few days at the hospital, Shelley cried a lot, but as she got used to being there, she cried less and less. The nurses would compliment her, saying things like, "Shelley was so brave today. She didn't cry at all when she got her shot." Even though Shelley's hair fell out and she felt weak because of the medicine she had to take, she never complained. She always had a smile on her face. One day when Milo and I went to visit her, Shelley showed us a drawing she did of us in her notebook. "Mom, look," she said proudly. "Shelley, it's really good," I told her, feeling proud too. Shelley was always chatty, even when she was lying in her hospital bed. Her talking made us feel stronger. When her white blood cell count was low, she had to stay in a special clean room. But after about a month, when her blood count got better, she was allowed to come home for a little while. "Mom, I want to go to preschool," she said excitedly. So we took her back to school for the first time in a long time. Seeing Shelley playing happily with her friends made us so happy. When we got home, my mom came to visit. "Shelley, you're doing so well," she said, holding Shelley close. Seeing Shelley being so lively and playful in my mom's arms made it hard to believe she was sick. "Mom, it smells like home," Shelley said as she sniffed the towels and blankets that had been drying at home for a few days. She seemed full of energy. But then she suddenly said, "Mom, my head hurts." She looked a bit lost and complained. "Let me check. Oh, you have a little fever. Stay here. I'll make you some soup." I tucked Shelley into bed and quickly finished up my chores, then started making soup. Just as I was about to start cooking, the doorbell rang. When I looked at the monitor, I saw Lori. I immediately wished I hadn't answered the door. "Lori, what brings you here?" I wanted to ask, "Do you need a reason to visit your son's house?" But I stayed quiet. Normally, I'd be happy to welcome a kind mother-in-law, but Lori, Milo's mom, was the last person I wanted to see. If I asked her, she'd probably say her hobby is harassing her daughter-in-law, I thought to myself. Since Milo and I got married, Lori had been constantly giving me a hard time, making fun of me for not having a higher education, or for being tall instead of cute. It was like she had a knack for saying hurtful things. When Milo's dad was alive, he would sometimes step in and tell her off, which made things a little easier to handle. But after he passed away from an illness during our second year of marriage, Lori's behavior got even worse. With no one to keep her in check, she'd do things like not ordering my favorite food or turning off the hot water while I was in the shower. Just little, mean things like that. Milo has an older sister, Eliza, who's a successful career woman. Her husband, my brother-in-law, is a prosecutor, and Lori is really proud of Eliza. She's always comparing me to Eliza and making snide comments. Eliza has a son named Jace, who's in second grade. When we visited for Christmas, it was obvious how differently Lori treated Jace compared to Shelley. Even though Shelley is her granddaughter, it seems like Lori doesn't find her adorable because she doesn't like me, her daughter-in-law. While I was busy making soup, Lori came barging in from next door. Ah, Shelley has a fever, I thought. If you don't have any business here, just leave. But then she said, such a weak child. I wonder where she gets it from. Certainly not our side of the family. Your dad had cancer, didn't he? Yes, Lori, I've told you many times, this illness isn't passed down through families. Yes, my dad died from cancer when I was in high school. But malignant lymphoma isn't usually inherited, except in some cases related to certain viruses. How many times do I have to explain this? Is she forgetting things? In the end, Lori just took a quick look at Shelley, said something mean, and left. I wonder if she has dementia. In the end, I glanced at Shelley's face, made a few sarcastic remarks, and left. I wondered what her purpose was. Was she just bored? Shelley spent about a year going back and forth between staying in the hospital and coming home for a few days as her blood count got better. After about a year and a half in the hospital, she finished her treatment and we were finally able to bring her home. She was able to go back to preschool, and we even took a family trip to the aquarium. She was full of energy and seemed so lively. I never doubted that Shelley would get better. But a year after she left the hospital, when she turned 5, my worst fears came true. Her illness came back. The painful treatment started again. She had injections in her spine, radiation therapy, she got pneumonia, and had high fevers. I did everything I could to help her. I massaged her swollen face and legs, and I even had a bone marrow transplant for her, hoping it would make her better. But unfortunately, it didn't work, and her condition got worse. Then the doctor told us the harsh truth. There's nothing more we can do. It meant that more treatment would only make Shelley suffer more. The doctor said she didn't have much time left, so we decided to bring Shelley home and make the most of the time we had left together. We did everything Shelley wanted to do. She even got to join in on the activities at preschool and play with her friends. Her smile brought joy to everyone around her. Mom visited a lot. I promised myself that I wouldn't cry in front of Shelley, but sometimes I couldn't help it, and tears would fall. Mom, what's wrong? Do you have a headache? Even though she was in pain, Shelley was still so caring, always worrying about me. I prayed so hard for our happy moments to never end, for a miracle to save Shelley, but my prayers went unanswered. Even though she looked healthy, her blood test results kept getting worse. Her condition was getting worse too, and eventually she couldn't even walk, but we were certain that she would make it to her 6th birthday. However, things took a turn for the worse very quickly. Shelley started having trouble breathing. You should be prepared, the doctor told us. I had promised myself I wouldn't cry, but I couldn't hold it back. In a daze, I told Shelley, I love you, and she weakly replied, I love you too. Despite how hard it was for her to speak, she managed to say those last words. Around 4 a.m., she got really critical. The doctor tried everything to save her, but Shelley passed away. We held her in our arms like we promised, wanting her to feel loved as she went to sleep for the last time. We begged her to stay with us, but she couldn't. I didn't have time to grieve because I was immediately swept up in arranging her funeral. It felt like if I stopped moving, I would lose my mind. When we got to the funeral home, Lori said, You're not coming to my words. I replied, Right now, taking care of the living is more important than anything else. Eliza is coming back from overseas, and today is her birthday. We need to pick up the cake. I was feeling really confused and upset with all the things you were saying. I said, trying hard to not let my anger burst out. At least bring a gift later. You better show up, or I won't forgive you. As if you're the one who gets to forgive, I blocked Lori's number and called someone else instead. Many people came to the funeral, including doctors from the hospital, friends from preschool, and my own friends. Everyone was crying for Shelley, which was really touching. We put her favorite sunflowers in her coffin, and her friends put letters inside too. Milo did a good job representing our grieving family. After a while, Milo and I went to his parents' house. Milo, Rel, please help, Lori begged as we walked in. We ignored her and went to the living room. Eliza's family and some relatives were there, and they all seemed angry at Lori. Eliza was the first to talk to us. I'm really sorry, Rel. We didn't know today was Shell's funeral. After I hung up on Lori, I called my sister-in-law, Eliza. Despite Lori often comparing us, Eliza and I had a close bond, like real sisters. Since I was an only child, I cherished Eliza like family. Her son, Jace, used to play with Shelley a lot. Even when Shelley got sick, Eliza visited us often to show her support. This year, Eliza had to go abroad for work, and when she returned, it happened to be on her birthday, which overlapped with Shelley's funeral. We were busy dealing with everything and had asked Lori to inform her side of the family. But Lori, in her foolishness, told them about a birthday party for Eliza instead of Shelley's funeral. Eliza, who I had personally informed, was shocked to find out that Lori hadn't attended the funeral. When Eliza contacted me again after returning home, the funeral was already over, but they were waiting for us to return. Eliza, among others, was mourning Shelley, while everyone gave Lori cold looks. Lori said, "You can always have another child," which were the worst possible words to say. Then, with a furious look, Eliza threw the cake prepared for her right at Lori's face. "Clean up that twisted personality of yours." She dragged Lori to the shower room and drenched her in her clothes completely. When asked why Lori had called, Lori weakly replied, "Lori was nagging me to hurry back for Eliza's birthday party preparations." The relatives were shocked and disgusted. After coming out of the shower room, Lori, completely soaked, was looked down upon by everyone. "No, but it's Eliza's birthday party. She's returning after so long. Shelley was sick anyway, not expected to live long. Eliza's birthday is more important, right?" Lori's excuse was met with anger from Eliza, who furiously asked, "My birthday party? What nonsense. Calling Rel for that? If Shelley was so important, how could you not understand Milo's grief over losing her? Why didn't you attend your granddaughter Shelley's funeral?" "No, but..." Lori started, but she couldn't find an excuse and grew quieter. That's when Jace spoke up. "Grandma, you don't really love your grandchildren, do you?" To Jace's soft murmur, Lori could only respond, "That's not true." "I love you, Jace," I said. "You're healthy and Eliza's child." What's that supposed to mean? So Shelley, my child, wasn't loved because she was ill, and your daughter-in-law's daughter. Milo, who had been holding back his anger, couldn't stay silent any longer. "No, but Shelley was Michelle's child, so I kept my distance. She was always sick and in bed. Not fun at all." "So Jace, Eliza's healthy child is loved, but my daughter Shelley is not because she was frail. You're insane for prioritizing Shell's birthday over attending her funeral. Have you lost your mind?" These words came from Lori's brother, my uncle-in-law, and his wife, my aunt-in-law. She's always been crazy. She harassed us when we got married, even tore my daughter's dress for her piano recital. Added no one at the scene stood by Lori, who had become utterly diminished. "We're leaving now, Milo, Michelle. We'll talk again another time." We hugged my uncle and aunt tightly. "We're leaving too. Mom, we're done with you," said Milo firmly. "Wait, Milo, I always felt scolded by you, always praising the successful CIS. Did you ignore Shelley because of that?" "It's not like that, Milo, you know. You didn't study like Eliza, didn't listen. So you only care about those who follow your rules, right?" said Milo, looking sad, as I gave Lori something beside him. It was a drawing of Lori made by Shelley. In the picture, Lori was smiling. "Even though you didn't show much love to Shelley, she looked up to you. I resented you and never saw you smile. But maybe Shelley saw the side of you that smiled like this." Shelley was a gentle and kind child. Even when she was sick, she worried about me. Maybe she saw kindness in you through her eyes. Lori cried for the first time, holding onto the drawing tightly. But it was too late now. We're leaving too. I won't see Mom again, said Eliza. Please don't go, Lori pleaded. But we all left without listening. Later, my uncle-in-law's family came to see us. They said sorry for Lori's actions. After praying for Shelley and talking lightly about Lori, they left. Lori seemed sorry as she held Shelley's drawing, but what she did couldn't be fixed. As my aunt-in-law said, Lori has always been difficult. It's unlikely she'll change now. After this incident, other relatives also decided to stop talking to Lori. Despite feeling sorry for her, her strange behavior over the years made it easier for everyone to stay away. She might end up alone, regretting her actions, but that's something she'll have to live with. After Shelley's funeral, the busy days went by and all the arrangements were done. It took some time, but I finally felt the full weight of losing Shelley. I was so overwhelmed with grief that I couldn't see clearly, which worried Milo a lot. My mom had to come stay with us for a while to help out. I felt like I was losing my mind. I just wanted to be with Shelley, drowning in despair. I couldn't stop wondering if I could have saved her by taking her to the hospital sooner or paying more attention to her health. But I couldn't give up on my own life. Shelley fought so hard until the end, even when she was barely conscious. She wanted to live so badly. Eventually, I started to find some hope. I joined a support group for parents who lost children to the same illness. It helped to talk and cry with others who understood my pain. Reconnecting with Eliza and spending time with her also brought some comfort. Milo and I decided to adopt a puppy. The playful puppy brings joy to everyone it meets, wagging its tail happily. It feels like a small piece of Shelley has come back to us. Are you up in heaven drawing, chatting, and smiling? One day, I'll be with you there. We'll see each other again, so please wait for me. But if by some miracle I get to see your smile again here on Earth, that would mean everything to me. As Shelley's mom, I promise to live a life that honors her memory.